I hope you understand my English.
They'll be fine. Your English is way better than my Spanish, for the record.
So we're gonna do the next one in Spanish
Okay, I'm gonna need help then.
or Russian.
Russian. Я говорю по-русски. There we go. All right, let me count this in.
AutoWeb. Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4.
AutoWeb.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy. That's not no sticker, baby. I'm about my brand. And this is the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group live stream, as well as, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, as well as the Millionaire Car Salesman Club on Clubhouse. And man, we got an absolute specialty today. So we got one of the top salespeople in the country, my man, Jose Cabrera. That's how I pronounce your last name, correct, sir?
You got it right.
There we go. So Jose has broken over 60 cars in a month on the showroom floor. And I want to just turn it over to you, brother. So first of all, congratulations for all your success, man. I've been in the industry for 23 years, and it is absolutely rare to find an automotive professional at your caliber, especially even now with the vehicle crisis. People are selling less cars. They're making more money, but they're selling less cars. So talk to me. Tell us a little about your background first. Like, how long you been in the automotive industry for?
Well, I've been around cars for 22 years.
Oh, wow.
I started with Henson. I started at the body shop, and I was moved to the service. I did pretty much everything. I did tires, oil change, sweep the floor, detail, and I moved to sales. I've been doing it for 8 years.
So you've only been in sales for 8 years?
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, you work for an incredible organization. We'll get to Henson brand in a little bit, but I'm intrigued. So you were freaking not in sales. You were doing all these other jobs and stuff like that. And in sales, you crushed it. So man, how? There's people that have been in the automotive industry for 25, 30 years that have never sold that many cars. So how does somebody that hasn't sold cars for a long time, less than a decade, and you're able to put up numbers like that? So how do you do it?
Yeah, this June is going to be 8 years. Well, Bradley, this is the question that everybody asked me, and I had no answer.
We're going to find out, though. I'm telling you this.
Working back there, I worked at the wash bay for almost 10 years. Detailing and whatever, used, new. And the owner was asking me, they're asking me once in a while, well, hey, you want to do sales? And, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And finally she say, well, you need to come and do it. Try. If you don't like it, you can go back. But, I was like, go back home, ask my wife. And she was like, but just try. But, I had a lot of concerns. I came here in Texas when I was 17. So I never went to school. Whatever school that I did, it was in Mexico. I never took any English classes or anything. So my English I got it from working with Henson.
Wow. So wait a minute. So I got to interrupt because I fucking love this shit, yo. I love our industry. So you've got a man who came from a different country, from Mexico, that didn't even go to school. You didn't go to English school, nothing like that. What have you? You worked in the detail shop. You were cleaning cars. Mm-hmm. And then you went from that. Are you got to be glad that your wife said try it, that the dealership said try it, right? Because it must have changed your life with the amount of money you're making.
The key was, she said, just try. If you don't like it, you can come back to do whatever you're doing. And she said, I'm gonna keep you I'm gonna keep you in your hourly salary, whatever, whatever I was making. She just go out there, sit at the desk, and see what you can do. So, in my mind, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna sit out there in the air conditioner making whatever money I was making. So finally said, let's try. But one of my big concern was my English. And I even told her to say, oh shoot, I don't see many Spanish people buying a new car. So what I'm gonna do, she said, you speak perfect English, just go try it. And we live in a small town. You can remember?
Yeah.
It's a little bitty town. It's a small town. It's kind of like a country town. So I just don't see myself. At the time, I was the only Spanish guy in the sales. I was the only person that speaks Spanish. There was no managers, no sales, nobody in service, nobody that speaks Spanish. So my big concern was that, like, what am I gonna do? I said, just wait to a Spanish guy walk into the dealer, and she was like, no, you jumping everybody. You'd be great. So I finally was like, okay, let's try it.
And tell us what you found. So, like, obviously it worked out for you, but talk us through it. When you first got on the showroom floor, like, were you instantaneously like a natural and you were good at it, or did you make mistakes, or was your fear correct that people couldn't understand you, or did it not matter? Tell us.
At the beginning, my fear was correct. When you can tell, I can tell when I come across to somebody and I got this heavy accent. I can tell people was like, who the hell is this guy? Where he came from? But when I notice if I get the person to come and sit at my desk and talk to me and know me a little more, and they kind of like, this Mexican Jose is pretty cool, and I noticed that. So my goal is to get that person to come and sit at my desk so we can talk a little more. Which I don't have that connection. I don't feel that connection, out there on the lot.
Right.
As soon as that person come inside and talk to me a little more, we back and forth, and everything changed.
So we always hear that car sales is a relationship business. If you get people to like you, trust you, and believe you, they're going to buy from you. So would you say that's a true statement, that car sales is truly a relationship business?
It's 100%. Yeah.
And so,
100%. Well, now it's a little bit different because, I got a bunch of phone calls looking for whatever, and I don't have it.
Right.
At these times, and there's no way to get it. Back then, I always say, hey, I don't have it, but I can get it from another dealer. The dealer trade is done. Nobody trade anything because nobody has anything.
Right.
But, I appreciate the call and say, hey, I don't have a way to get it. Just go for find and call me the next time.
So let's go back to what you just said, because there's a lot of people that listen, Jose, to this podcast. And we were talking about, like, literally tens of thousands of people listen to this podcast. It blows my mind. And there's some people that are at different levels. There's people that are listening to this because they want to extract some knowledge because their dealerships don't offer training, or the training they give them is bullshit basic training. So when they hear like a G like you, somebody that's got skills and success, and man, it just blows my mind. I didn't even realize that you were in detail, to go from detail for all those years and not even feel comfortable, and then have the success that you do. I'm paying attention as a trainer. I'm like listening, like, oh man, keep telling me. So talk to me. How do you find it difficult if you're on the lot or in the showroom? I'm going to go through an old school question here. This is what we all have to deal with. If you up somebody and they say, nah, I'm just looking, how do you handle it? How do you, like, let's role play. So if I'm on the lot and you come up to me to say hello, whatever, to engage me, and I'm like, I'm good, I'm just looking, what do you say?
When they say I just looking, right after they ask the price, like, what's the best price? And my answer was like, well, I don't know. Let's talk to the manager. my idea was like, I need to get this guy inside. And, inside, I can get more help. And you always get this, like, you think they take these, you think they take that. I was like, well, sure, I don't know. Then maybe let's go check.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, and this is true, you brought up a good point right there. A lot of times people don't just say, I'm just looking, and ignore you and turn away. Sometimes they do, but most of the time you're right, man. You're absolutely right. After they say, I'm just looking, but then they ask you the price right there. Mm-hmm. And so, but what I'm hearing from you is that in your mind, no matter what, you keep thinking, I got to get him in the store. I got to get him in. 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 Okay, that's good. Do you have any other advice on how do you get them to come at least to inside to sit at your desk? Give me a couple other tips or tricks that you use to be able to get them inside the store. Any other ideas or feedback?
I remember, when I first started, the manager at the time, he used to have a price on the windshields, little stickers where they show the price. And not too long later, we take the prices out of the windshield. So, excuse me, the customer was like, what are you asking for this truck? And, my answer was like, you know what? I'm not sure. I think it's somewhere around at 30,000. If you got a minute, we can go inside and look. Even when I know the price, I kind of know the prices and everything. But like, if you got a minute, let me check. And as soon as he was just walking behind me. I pull the computer and look at the price, but he was already inside.
No, Jose, you're absolutely right. As a trainer, if you think about this, folks that are listening onto this podcast or that are watching this live stream right now, it makes a lot of sense because if you just give them a price, even with the range, then you don't have there's no reason for them to, there's no urgency or reason for them to come in. Mm-hmm. So if you want to get them in, okay, good. So now they're inside. So let's go through the road to the sale. So I'm inside now. I'm with you. I'm at your desk. So I believe that a lot of problems on the showroom floor, even for experienced people, they don't qualify the prospect the right way. They don't ask the right questions, which means if you don't ask the right questions, you don't qualify them thoroughly. It makes it difficult to land them on the right car when you do product selection. So can you share with us some of your qualifying questions? So let's say I'm sitting at your desk and you take out your customer worksheet. Okay. If you take your customer worksheet out, talk to me on what exactly, like, do you like to ask question wise?
I really, I was thinking the way, because, I get the question every time, like, how do you do it? How do you do it? And I was looking at the back and thinking like, I'm not, I don't do anything special, just simple, humble guy. Remember at the beginning, I just want to sell a car. I don't really care if I was going to make money or no. So, when the person asking, okay, oh, you want 30,000 is the best you can do? And then, in my mind was like, well, sure, then maybe do 25, but I don't know. Let's go look. Let's go ask. At the time, I just want to sell my car. So when I walk in with the guy, I'll pull it up and whatever, and I get the manager, and I get somebody involved, somebody, with to speak the perfect language same time, and but I don't feel like, I have, how do I say? I don't feel like, I was told about these 10 questions and this and this and this. I probably never follow none of that. It's just, whatever comes at the time with you different, maybe with the next guy different. With the Spanish speaker, is way different. My Spanish guys, they don't focus on the payment. They focus on the price, when, 30,000 is way too much money, in their mind it's too much money. And I say, well, 30,000, if you look at in payment is right with $500 payment. Oh, I can do that. I can do that payment. So yeah, you see, you can buy a nicer truck with low miles and a reasonable payment. But, you know, they look at it a different way.
No, this is good information, especially for non-Hispanic people. They might not know that. So what you're saying is that from your experience, not only being a Latino yourself, but be working with Hispanic prospects and Hispanic clients, you're saying that in their mind, when they come into the dealership, they're mostly focused on the price of the vehicle, not thinking of payment. So if I don't want to speak for you, but what I'm hearing you say is that if you're dealing with the Spanish prospect or a Spanish lead, right, you want to try to flip it to payment and show them, you know, how realistic and how affordable it can be, even though they might not see it the originally. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
that's correct,
good
because
feedback.
you know they always got the impression anybody, you know, got the impression they are looking for a $20,000 truck, because you know they looks like it's a cheap truck, but you know it's a $20,000 truck. It's probably got 100,000 miles, so rate can be high and, you know, stuff like that. When you're looking at $30,000 truck with low miles, good finance, and you end and pay close to the same payment.
So I got one for you. So let's talk about this. There's a guy, I think I told you, his name is Carlos Huerta. Carlos works for Ali Reda at a dealership. And this is a guy who doesn't take any ups whatsoever. He only does community selling. Like, he only works with the community, doing all the Latino events, all the parades, all the charity stuff. And his perspective was that in his area in Michigan, a lot of the dealers were taking advantage of the Hispanic prospects. Like, they were charging them high interest rates, even if they had good credit and things like that. And how he made a name for himself, and he started averaging like 30, 40 cars a month, because, you know, just with zero ups, just working the community, is because what he was doing, he's saying, listen, my name is Carlos Cueta, and I want to help you, because, you know, a lot of times we as Latinos, we get taken advantage of at dealerships. They think we're stupid or they charge us more. So even if you don't buy a car from me, let me see your paperwork. Let me see your paperwork, and I'll tell you if you're getting a good deal on the car. I'll tell you if you're getting a good deal on your trade and things like that. Can you speak? Because there's a lot of non-Hispanic people that listen to our show, of course. So can you just tell us what it's like for a Latino prospect, really, from a Latino's perspective? How do you think the average dealership, not your dealership, of course, but I'm just saying, like, how do you think car salesmen or car dealerships treat Latinos in general? And there's two parts to that question. I want to get your opinion there. And then I want you to tell our audience how they could really maximize this amazing opportunity by building friendships and relationships with the Latino community. So let's start there. How do you think people in general treat Hispanics buying cars?
But, you know, I think the main, you know, the Spanish guy, his main concern is that he's going to walk into a dealer and have nobody that he can communicate. So there's the main thing. You know, if you walk in and nobody speaks Spanish, you maybe have your little son or your little girl trying to help, but you know that's complete different.
Right.
It's zero connect, zero trust.
Okay, so wow, this is so good. So again, 100%. What I just heard you say is that, you know, people that are Hispanic, one of the biggest challenges or fears they have is when they go into a dealership, they're buying something extremely expensive. Like, for anybody, like, it's the second largest item in the world next to a house for the average American. And so if you're buying something so expensive or leasing something expensive, it must be a scary thing not to be able to understand what somebody's saying or not be understood. You're not able to articulate or convey to somebody. And so if they're bringing their children, a lot of times there's no translator. So the first tip is dealers should be really prepared for the Hispanic audience. I mean, you should have somebody that speaks Spanish at the dealership. Now, I got a question for you. I always talked about this, okay? It's one thing to, we'll get into more deeper about being able to translate in Spanish, but also, you know, my feedback is, you know, my background, my wife's Puerto Rican. I'm from Belize and Honduras, so I'm 75% Central American. So again, it takes one to know one. I get it, but I was born in the United States. I don't speak Spanish, but I have a lot of family. That's their number one thing. And the challenge is this: Not only speaking though, think about it, man, the paperwork, right or wrong. Jose, if somebody's talking to you and then all of a sudden they pull out a buyer's order or a contract, you know what I mean? The F&I aspect, all this stuff is in English. Question for you. Does your dealership have the paperwork in Spanish as well?
No.
See?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's crazy. But at least they have you and they have people that speak Spanish. You know what I mean? But so again, we're just talking shit right now. We're just having a conversation. Don't you think it would be pretty awesome if dealers were able to create the experience in Spanish, if that's what the prospect or client wanted? Not just the conversation, but also the paperwork and the contracts. No?
Yeah. Everything. Oh yeah, it'll be nice.
Yeah.
It'll be nice, and it'll help a lot, because it'll avoid 100 questions. Even when they go on the finance and get the paperwork done, they're still coming back and asking me questions because everything is in English.
And also builds trust. When I can see, it's great to hear you say it, but I don't care what nationality you are. We know that the automotive dealership industry, car salesmen, unfortunately, have not a good reputation. Maybe that not now, but back in the day in the 70s, 80s and stuff like that, that was maybe a little bit more true. Nowadays, I think that our industry is filled with way more good people. I mean, like, you don't see Geraldo Rivera jumping out of the bushes and exposing car dealers like that. I mean, there's more police and priests that have problems in the media, in the news, than car people do, but the negative reputation is there. So I think that my wife just said, she's Puerto Rican. She just said herself, she's like, look, it builds trust. If you could be transparent. Okay, I got another question for you though, because you're obviously bilingual now, do you create content in Spanish? Do you create videos in Spanish? Do you create a website in Spanish? Do you create how to sync up your Bluetooth, your satellite radio, your garage door opener? Do you create content in Spanish for your people?
Not at all.
But you could, right? And see, you can help.
I'm an old style. I'm not a Facebook. Barely,
Well, don't worry. I'm gonna talk to Eric, because your dealer is so progressive. I mean, like the Henson brand, the Henson family you guys have such an amazing organization. I had the privilege to be in Texas at your organization. You've got this beautiful studio. You shoot all this content, but based on our conversation, and I saw Eric's watching this interview, so's Roy. So Roy and Eric are here, and you guys are in Texas, and there's a huge Latino community. So I'm going to suggest that maybe me and you could help our industry. I could give you some ideas. I could give your dealership some ideas. And if you create these, whether it's the paperwork, the contracts, the buyer's order, the disclosures, the trade appraisal form, the credit application, if those are in Spanish, maybe we could post them in the group as examples for all of the non-Hispanic dealers and automotive professionals to see. And then if we could start creating some content like videos, like how-to videos and all those questions. If you think about this, matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do. I don't know if you know, my daughter's girlfriend, her name is V. She's a car girl. She used to be a BDC rep. So my daughter's girlfriend, they've been together for like 4 years. Her first language is Spanish, and she wants to do more. So if we come up with the idea, I can even have her shoot it. You know what I mean? But it's going to, and here's the other thing though, this is where I get confused, not being a Spanish speaker, is there's different dialects that I'm finding, like, Mexican from Puerto Rican, Cuban and stuff like that. So I know that you're Mexican or have you, and in Texas, there's a lot of Mexicans there. So this is going to be Puerto Rican Spanish. I don't know how that's going to work in Texas, but what we'll do is we'll have some Puerto Rican Spanish here. But no, I'm excited about this, man, because again, my goal is to not only help dealers make more money and sell more cars, I really want to help change the perception about our industry to the public, to the retail, because I love this industry. And I believe that there are such good people in it. And I think that if we work together, so does that sound like a plan? Like if I come up with, if we come up with some ideas of some videos and you like them, for no charge, I'll have my daughter's girlfriend, V, shoot these videos in Spanish, and maybe they'll be some useful to your clients.
Let's do it. I'm in.
All right, that's what's up. So Roy and Eric are watching, so we'll talk about this after the interview, guys. Okay, now, so let's go through this though. If I'm understanding, you don't have like a ninja like strategy. You just are just naturally nice and calm. But come on, man, you're very humble, and I respect that. But the reality is this: stop it. The average salesperson sells 10 cars. You're not doubling, you're not tripling. You are, I don't know what 6 times is, like sextuplets or something, whatever it's called, but you're doing like, 60 cars where the average person sells 10. So, okay, walk me through your day. What do you do when you come into work, like during the week? Like, what is your average routine? So walk me through. What do you do from the second you walk in until you leave, please?
You probably don't want to know. I come late every day. I go straight to the coffee. Open my computer, look at the emails, which I'm not an email guy. I'm an old style. I'm not an email guy.
Me too.
I'm not a CRM guy. So I look at the leads. Maybe I got 1 or 2 leads or whatever. Man, I don't know. I'm not a. I'm not a. I don't know.
I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to find out. Okay. We're going to find out. So where do you, here's a different question. Where do you get most of your sales from? So would you say that they're repeat business, they're referrals, or they're from showroom ups, internet, phone? Where do you get your most opportunities from? Repeat business. Okay. So that makes sense. You've been selling cars for about 8 years now. So you have a lot of clients that come back. So if you're not a CRM person, then how do you keep in contact with these people? You're always calling them. You're on the phone.
No, really.
So they come to you.
I sell my car. Call them a day or 2 later, maybe in a week or 2, and it's maybe somebody that I know already. So I probably got his phone saved in my phone, and it's more like. It's probably going to be the customer testing me. Hey, what's up with my first payment? Or hey, what's up with my plates? And later on, hey, when I do my first oil change, So there's Dean heavy questions for me, and it's kind of like we keep in contact.
Right. Okay, I like that. So you basically are continuing the conversation. You're accessible to your people. You are answering their questions, and you're keeping that communication open. Okay, that's good. All right, I'm going to redirect, Jose. I'm going to redirect. You've been doing this long enough, my friend. I'm not going to let you off the hook here. You've been doing this long enough. You see with your own eyes other salespeople that don't sell nearly as much as you do. And again, you have a great organization, but to sell the amount of cars that you do compared to the average salesperson or even great people, there's a difference. Why do you think you sell more cars than other people, even in your own store? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something different. Is it your follow-up? Is it because you're nicer than most people? You spend more time, like you come in on your days off. There's got to be something, or everybody would be selling 60 cars at your store. You see what I'm saying? What do you think it is?
Well, I want to say one of the main things, and everybody can do whatever they want to do, but one of the main things that I do that nobody else does, I work every day. Monday to Saturday.
So you're working 6 days a week. You're working.
Yeah, you find me here 8 to 6, or sometimes 8 to 7, or 8 to 8. I don't care. I want to say there's one of the main, the main difference that I see with everybody else. Everybody else is worried about, when is going to be my day off. If in my mind, if I got Wednesday to be my day off, if I got somebody coming, buddy, I'll be here. I will not call anybody and say, yeah, I got a customer that I want you to take care of. I will not split a deal. I'm lazy if I'm in the hospital.
Your work ethic. See, now we're getting your work ethic. And I would agree with that, man, because a lot of times people, like you said, they're worried about lunch. the word about like the news on TMZ or CNN, or the football player that just passed away over the weekend. As people are distracted with all this shit that doesn't make them money. So now, if you're at work, would you say that you're productive from the second you walk in? You're either following up or you're selling cars. Like, I would assume to sell that type of cars, you're not sitting there talking shit about football and the news and wasting time. You're focused on business. Is that correct?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Attention auto dealers, you need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads, high quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and/or zip codes, and as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
That's correct. That focus in my stuff, even if somebody walk in, I'm looking at it. Like somebody just walk in, and I probably, if I'm at my desk, I probably can see when the guy walking in.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say that, folks, if you're listening to this, me and my wife, we talk about this all the time with the whole KB method about time maximization. Just because you work bell to bell doesn't mean shit if you're not being effective. If you come into work at the dealership and you're playing on your cell phone all day, you're looking at your text messages, you're playing video games, or you're getting up and you're doing random things and you're in huddles, you're having conversations, you're taking smoke breaks. I believe that there's a lot of people that do prison time. And what I mean by prison time is they're at the dealership doing time. They're there, but they're not working. They're not focused. They're not grinding. They're not about the business. And so not only, Jose, what I heard you just say, not only when you go to the dealership, you go there to work and you're working, you actually go in on what other people would have their days off. So you're working as much as possible, but when you are at the dealership, not only are you there more than anybody else, you're actually being productive, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's what I do. And I don't, like I say, everybody's got their own, their own thing. Everybody's got their own family. They needed time to spend with the family. If you ask my wife, she's probably going to say, well, but besides the money and everything, she's going to complain that I was working.
Right.
But that takes me, to where I am right now. Right. And I'm going to give you an example. Saturday, BDC sent me an appointment. I spoke to somebody come at 4:00. I call her at 12, and she don't answer me. And it was kind of like a dead day for me. So I left at 3:00. The appointment shows up. She shows up, and I was gone. And I normally here till we close the doors. You see, I don't make any contact. I was like thinking, well, shoot, did she showed up? No. I can see, I saw this morning the BDC did contact the girl, and she said, I'm on my way. So they never tell me anything. So I went home. That's gotta
burn you, right? Like that's gotta drive you crazy that you left it.
I went home and I was like, well, shoot, I'm gonna try. I left at 3:00. I was like, I'm gonna try to relax and spend a little time with my wife. Find out this morning that she did came. So there's a sample right there, and I was like, sure, if I should know, I'll stay. I don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about, because you brought up the work ethic. You said born in Mexico, and you were a detailer, and you cleaned up the cars and stuff like that. That's hard work. Like it ain't easy. You don't sit in air conditioning and on your ass. Like you're working your ass off cleaning cars. Yeah. And I think that develops, I don't know, because of the culture, from being from a different country, coming here to try to have like a better life. You're working your ass off, but then getting into a situation where I have to assume selling 60 cars, you've made a ridiculous amount of money, more than you could have ever even dreamed of cleaning cars. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Of course. So
never, those numbers
it's
never
crazy, right?
Crazy.
So I think that's a big point, though, is that there's a lot of people that think, especially like the younger kids, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, like they're spoiled a little bit. They think that everything's handed to them and they could just come in and they're going to make $100,000 a year. You're sitting there grinding. And because because you have such a good work ethic, it's normal for you to work hard and long, but the value is evident, my friend. So question for you, because this is the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. This is what we're talking about. The goal is for us to be successful so we could better our lives. If you're selling 60 cars at an average dealership, 20 cars, especially with the grosses now, people are making anywhere from like $10,000 to $14,000 a month. So selling, like, what was your biggest month that you had, like growth, like revenue wise? Did you break 50,000 in a month before?
Really close.
That's still, holy crap. Like, think about that for a second. So making in a month more than the average person in the United States makes in a year. Is that mind blowing to you? Is that crazy?
It is crazy.
Tell me if
I
you can.
I still think that every day, and I was like, how the hell that happened?
Now let's talk about this, because money isn't just, in my opinion, to be stupid and go buy rims and stuff like that. It's got to have changed your family's life, your wife and your family. Like that's got to feel incredible to be able to give them a security and a lifestyle like that. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's beyond the wildest dreams. So tell me, how's that feel for you to come from where you come from, work as hard as you do, and now you're able to give your family, your loved ones, a whole different world? Mm-hmm. What is that like?
It feels great. It's what I came for. Like a normal, like every other immigrant, I grew up with the idea. My dad was, he came when he was 15 years old the first time. So he literally spent his life, go back and forth. So we grow up with the same idea. We were thinking like, well, shit, I want to be 15 so I can go to, he spent a lot of time in Chicago. So grow up with the idea, you want to be old enough so you can leave. So, and I always look at it two different ways. Sometimes it's a good idea, sometimes don't. For a lot of people, don't work out. For me, I came, start working. I work at my first 3 days. A guy taking me to build fences, which I had no clue about the fences. So he take me, and we worked 3 days. We middle post.
Yeah.
And we did the fence for 3 days, and I got me a job in a ranch.
A ranch.
There was show bulls, and it was a pretty nice place. So I worked there for 1 year. And right after I moved with Henson. So, I want to say obviously my goal and everybody's goal is, to get better, right? To find a good job, to make a little more money. But I never, I still, if you ask me what's the best price, and my answer is not going to be like, because I've seen it and I hear before, the sales guy, well, you see, that's the best price. I'm always like, oh, shoot, I don't know. Let's go look. If it's a little bit of discount, we give it to you. I don't care.
Right.
Because I never came, and I still am not, trying to make all this money, or, trying to kill everybody, stuff like that.
It's so funny you brought that up, Jose, because that was my next question I wanted to ask you, is that, because I could hear your heart. I could hear you. I understand. I think the type of person you are, and I have a lot of respect for that. So it's got to feel good that you're able to help people, because a lot of people need cars to get to work, to bring their kids to daycare, to go to the grocery store. Like, you know, during the pandemic, like dealerships were an essential business because people need transportation to be able to live their lives and do what needs to get done. That's got to feel good that not only can you make a great living, but you get to help people.
And you see, a customer like that, I don't want that money. You know, I take the meaning. I'm good.
Brother, see, that's mindset that's amazing to hear you say something like that, because I believe you know?
I take the meaning. I'm good.
That's amazing. And
you know, like, same thing with my brother. He's buying a car. I went out there and said, "Hey, what's the price for my brother?" He said, "Make sure I'm not making any penny out of my brother. I don't want my brother's money."
Right. But that's why I think, my friend, that's why I think people come back to you, why you have repeat business, why you have referrals, because if you're a real person and you got like a moral compass, I mean, you're a good mindset about people will recognize that, because so many people are not like that. So many people are like mine, and take advantage of shit. So when you find a genuine person that's successful, that doesn't need to crack somebody, you know what I mean? That, because, you know, a lot of times, a lot of people in life are not, they don't think of the long term. They think of the immediate gratification, the commission, the money right now, not thinking about, I want them for life. I want them to come back to me over and over. I want their friends, their family, their coworkers. It's a different strategy. You can't get all of that, those referrals and repeat business, if you're not kind to people, if you don't take care of people, if you don't give them a good service. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only way you're gonna get people to come back to you over and over again.
Yeah. You know, and that's what I do. You know, I know exactly when I get credit up and I see, you know, somebody's working at the same place for 20 years and the income is only $2,000 or $2,500 a month. And you know, thinking like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, it breaks my heart too. It really does. When I come in contact with people, I think, especially, but when I was younger, I didn't think of shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think of shit like that. But as a 45-year-old man that has a whole family and kids and stuff, I'm like, wow, like I do well, and shit's expensive. You know what I mean? So I can't imagine somebody, like you said, that works 20 years at a job and they're only making $2,000 or $2,500 an entire month. And you know, you have to have a heart in this.
Because this is a small town. There's probably not even 5,000 people. So the average income in Madisonville is probably $25,000 a year, maybe 30.
Right.
And that's it. So when you see a family, you know, they have 2 or 3 kids, maybe 4 kids, they're working at the same place for many years, and the income is $2,500 a month. And you got this guy behind the desk thinking like, I'm gonna make a killing with this poor guy. I can't do it.
Like Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. You know what I mean? Like, I believe that is that, and I get it, because I've worked on a desk before, and I get it. That, thank God, like I love the internet and BDC stuff, but you have to have an average gross. You know what I mean? So you have to be responsible to the dealership, but there's a point where, especially now when we have such amazing grosses, you have to balance, you know, what's right from what's profitable. That doesn't mean that you know what I mean? And that's why you need somebody that's that could balance, you know what I mean? And take all factors in consideration, because, you know, not every deal should be made. And I got to say that, like, and some people might disagree with me and say, no, you never leave any money on the table. You take it all. I disagree. I think that, you know, the goal is to be profitable and be successful, but you don't have to do that at the expense of human beings. You know what I mean? And put people, and you know this, man, you're a car guy. I look at paperwork and I'm like, this person should have never been in this car in the first place. Somebody put them to sleep. They turned around and they took the tray, they did this, they did that, and they rocked them to sleep. And that doesn't help anybody, you know? So I agree with you here, because I don't want to take all your time. I know that you're very busy. I mean, you have to be to sell all the cars that you're doing. Give some salespeople some advice. Like, let's just say that you probably don't want to get promoted because it's probably a pay cut. Usually when you sell a lot of cars, he's like, hell no. But let's just say that you were the GSM of a store or a sales manager, and you had a whole new class of trainees, right? And I'm one of your trainees and my audience is your trainees. What advice do you have for us on how to be successful in car sales? Give me some of your advice or tips, please.
Say one more time. I lost you on a phone
No, it's okay.
call.
I said, so let's pretend that you were the general sales manager or a sales manager, and you were doing a sales meeting with a new class of new hires, right? Or people that work at the salespeople, doesn't matter. What advice do you have, Jose? Like for people that are in this business, what advice would you like to give us so we could hopefully one day come close to what you've achieved?
Man, I don't know. I don't know what they say. Because my deal is, I feel like it's so different to everybody else. I look at these guys here, I look at the guys at the other stores, and to me, we live in a different world. Like I say, when I get a family in my desk, when I look at the income, and when I come to the manager and give me payment, whatever, and when I look at the payment, I'm thinking like, holy shit, I'm looking at it if it was like it was me, like $700 payment, I'm thinking like, holy crap, these people can do that payment, I'm trying to answer for them before they say, they're gonna say yes, probably, but me thinking like, damn, there's a high dollar payment. I'm getting into, like probably if you're a manager, you're thinking like, well, what the hell you care about it? You're not gonna do the payment.
Well, listen, I care because let me explain to you from a trainer's perspective, you're fucking doing something right. Do you understand that? I don't know what it is. I got some little pieces of it, but again, when you're saying, I don't know, when you're saying, I don't understand that. When you're saying, I don't know, and things like that, I know. I've been doing this for 23 years at a very high level. And I'm telling you, my brother, there's not a lot of human beings at your level in our industry. So what you might think it's not a big deal, or I don't know, or I just do this, you are doing something right. And someone like me as a national trainer, I'm trying to ask questions and I'm trying to isolate patterns. Because you might not think it's a big deal, but think about it. You're doing something you're doing, something you're saying, something you're thinking is making you so successful, but you're also very humble. So you might not see it as a big deal. People listen to this podcast because I'm gonna give you an example. I don't know if you like sports, but like, you talk about Chicago. Let's talk about one of the best Chicago athletes ever, Michael Jordan, right? So if you're a basketball fan, you want to know what does Michael Jordan eat? What is he drinking? He wears Hanes underwear. I'm going to wear Hanes underwear. Something fucking Michael Jordan is doing that makes him Michael Jordan. You don't know what it is. So you're trying to find out everything. That's what I'm saying. That's what this podcast is about, is that seriously, is that we find successful people and we're trying to just talk to them and hear what they're saying and they're thinking, because I want to grab some of that mindset, because again, brother, something that you're doing or thinking or saying enables you to do what you do, even though you might not realize it, but that just means you're humble. That's all it means.
And I like to ask anybody out there, one time I had this older lady. She bought a car from me. Okay, she bought it with 6,000 miles. I believe there was like a demo, so there was like a 7,000 miles on it. So if you know Chevrolet, when you buy a Chevrolet, it comes, when you buy a new, it comes with either 1 or 2 free oil change, whatever. So the time comes for her to do her first oil change. So she made the appointment. She came to service, get the oil change done. She was ready to go when they tell her, hey, you owe me $50. And she say, no, this is my first oil change. It's supposed to be free. Service was like, no, ma'am, the first oil change has already been done because it had a 6,000 miles. So, instead of us did the oil change because we put the 6,000 miles, not the customer. So they used the free one. So the poor lady came to my desk and she said, hey, they're trying to charge me for my free oil change. It's my first one. And I was like, oh, shoot, what do I do? So I get up and I say, what's the problem? And she said, well, she's trying to give free oil change when she don't have it. I said, she does have a free oil change. That's her first oil change. Well, Sarah was like, no, it's already been used, whatever. I get the $50 to pay for the oil change. So I don't know how many people can pull $50, $100, whatever it takes from her pocket, from your pocket, you $100 from your pocket and give it to the customer so they can leave and, at least give you a chance the next time. But, I can lose a customer in service pretty easy.
Yes.
Super easy. So if I got the $50 in the pocket, I put it on it. I pay for it. I tell the lady, don't worry about it. It's your free oil change. And she laughed. And I've been done multiple times. Either oil change or whatever they say they're supposed to give. I just go out there and do it.
Because you care. And that's the thing, is that you're absolutely, it's funny. I interview a lot of high level people like Ali Retta, Cody Carter, Chrissy Burton, and these people. And they said the same thing, especially with service. They tell their customers, well, these people sell 100 plus cars a month. Chrissy sells like 73. You know what I mean? But Ali has broke the Guinness Book of World Records I shared with you. Cody Carter has sold 154 cars like in March. And these people, they don't let their customers go to service. They say to their customers, listen, anything that you need, come to me and I'll be your liaison. I'm not going to service the car for you, but anything that you need, I'll make the appointment. I'll do this, because they want to make sure, like you said, nothing goes wrong and a service writer or anybody else doesn't ruin the experience and the vibe that they've created. And so the two things I just got from what you said is, one, you just got to really care past the sale. Unfortunately, a lot of people are good to make people feel like they care about them and they like them, and then they get the sale and then they forget about them. Yeah. You don't. You keep these relationships, and you even at your own expense, you are doing what's right for the customer. And that's why I think a big part is why they keep coming back to you, man. That's good. That's awesome. That's good stuff.
Are you kidding me? You fighting for $50. $50.
On a $40,000 car, $30,000 car. Exactly.
It's just like, I get up like crazy and say, okay, here's the money. Give this poor lady a key, let it go.
Let's go. I love it, my friend.
And that's what I do, sometimes I do stupid stuff like customer really want steps. I figure out where I can steal the 10 steps. Get your steps. I figured out how, because sometimes the deal is not making any money, so we don't got no room for whatever. I said, let me figure it out. Let me walk the used lot, see if I got something that I can steal.
I love it.
And, that's what it is.
I like that. You know what? I don't really get that. I like that a lot. Figure it out. Figure out what you could do to make them happy. And just for the record, because when he says steal, he doesn't mean illegally. He means find a vehicle in stock, like a used car, that you could take something out of there and add it to this deal. Yeah. I love that.
If you have a used car and it's got whatever these guys need, I come and ask the manager to say, hey, what if we take 2 steps out of the truck? Let's make this deal happen. Let's make this guy happy. Okay, let's do it. And that'll fix the problem.
I think that's brilliant. I think it's absolutely
even now the steps is $1,000 10 steps. So sometimes we don't got the room to put it in a deal, or and we had to figure it out. Because the guy asking for the steps is because he really need it, not because he just want it.
Exactly. Okay, I love it. Now,
little stuff like it's a lot. The second key every time. It's a used car. It's only one key. Oh shoot, where's the second key? Well, but there's only one. Let me figure it out. Let me figure out how to get you second key. Let me call the previous customer. I'll call it back and say, hey, there's no second key. If you do half, I'll do half.
And question for you: when you've called a lot for the second key and you got them?
Most of the times, don't.
Okay.
No, because looks like a customers when they probably have it in the house, but they always is like, she probably is there, but looks like a customer when they come into the dealer ready for trade, they don't care about the second key.
Right.
Obviously, the next customer wants the second key.
So how do you handle it? You just have another key made?
Same thing. I mean, the key is at $300. It's a little more expensive, but we have to figure out how to get the second key.
Right.
Same thing. The referral, same thing with the referrals. Hey, I got your referral, this and that. I figured out how to get the $100 referral. I mean, we're not gonna end in. I'm not gonna end it with nobody the relationship for $100 or for a key or for whatever it is, for a bear liner, $250 bear liner. Because they normally asking for a bear liner, which is $250, maybe window tint, $100, minimum stuff.
Right.
Minimum stuff. So I'm not gonna lose, or nobody's gonna leave in saying, Jose, screw me, this and that, for stuff like that.
Your mindset is great. And I'm going to close on this because we're going to wind down now. I'm just going to say this. For all the people that are listening, I mean, like when people say that you can't make money or this, that, you've been talking with Jose from Henson, brand dealerships in Texas, and you're talking to a man that... Say again, for how small is the town?
Like 4,000 people.
So, there's a dealership in a town of 4,000 people. He's not from this country. He didn't speak English when he came to this country. He was in detail for many, many years. And it hasn't even been 8 years. In less than 8 years, he went from being, a detailer, cleaning cars, to selling 60 plus. What's the most amount of cars you sold in 1 month total? 60 what?
They're going to 61, 62.
So it just blows my mind to sell 61, 62. Yeah. For the record, Jose, I told you, like I used to average 33 cars. That's it. 33. So you almost doubled what I did. And I thought I was a rock star when I was selling cars. I love talking to people like you that have broken 60 cars because it's just unimaginable to most people. So congratulations, my brother, on all your success.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any last thing you like to leave? You like to let everybody know as we say goodbye?
Well, shit, no. Everything, just go to work.
All right. So then, what's next? What's next for you? Are you trying to get to 75, 100, or you're happy where you're at right now? What's next for you?
Well, now the situation is completely different.
Yes.
I used to have 150 new units. I only got 5.
So how are you dealing with it? That's a good question. Before we're going to go into overtime for a second. How did with the inventory situation, how did you switch your business? Are you switching them to used cars? Are you doing more orders or both? How are you able to continue selling cars in your career with the inventory crisis?
It's kind of like, a little bit of both. People already figured out, looking for new, and they already find out there's nothing out there. So they switch to a used ones and orders. And basically now we spend, which I never done it before, spending time in the town computer just looking what's coming, which I never done it before. I don't spend much time on a computer. I'm always walking around or at the other dealers. And now what else we can do? We just see what is coming. But I had no clue. Last month I did 30. The month before I think I did 30. The gross is
a question for you. Okay, so doing half the units, the grosses are way better. So are you making the same amount of money or more money?
Well, because we got a little more gross. Because, you know, there's no rebates and stuff like that.
Right.
So everything is either a sticker or a little bit over sticker. Factories takes all the rebates and everything.
Yeah, but for your income though, are you making the same amount of money or more or less lately for the last
a little less because you know, we're going from almost half, you know, selling 30 compared to 45. Obviously it's 15,
right?
You know, 15 deals that you're missing. So there's a little less, but you know, I feel like it's a little more easy because, you know, if you call me and say, Jose, I'm looking for a Yukon Denali, and I'm gonna tell you right away I don't have it. And I will say, thank you for calling me, and I'm done right there. And you know, back then there was a lot more stress because I always got the hope that I can get it for you.
Right.
So yeah, what do you want? I want Y. Okay, give me a little time. Let me see if I can find it. And you know, I was good in dealer trade at one point. Almost everybody looking for something, I was available to get it. So now, well, I don't have it, and you're like, shoot, you know, you don't feel bad because you don't have it. You don't have a way to get it.
Right.
So you feel great that you remember me and you call me. So right now, it's the thing. Hey, I'm looking for this. Hey, I don't have it. You interested maybe in Dash or Ford? No, I'm a Chevrolet guy. Say, I appreciate it. I don't have it. If you need any help, call me. You know, if you find one, call me. Let me know. Let me make sure you're getting a good deal. And that's it.
Well, brother, listen, again, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you taking this time to be able to share your incredible story. It's so motivational, and I wish you continued success.
Thank you, buddy.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is sponsored in part by AutoWeb. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. You know, let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.